On the 730th day of her captivity, Anastasia Steele, or Anna as she was known, pressed a shard of broken glass against the throat of her captor, the billionaire CEO Christian Grey, finally bargaining for 3 hours of fleeting freedom. Stumbling desperately toward her home, her heart pounding with hope, she was suddenly cornered by 6 sleek black cars slithering like venomous snakes to block her escape. In the back seat of the luxurious Maybach, Christian Grey's eyes gleamed with dark intensity, blood trickling from his brow down his lashes, dripping onto her collarbone like a scorching brand, marking her as his forever. His voice was a low growl, reminding her that no matter how fast she ran, she couldn't outpace the wheels that could crush her childhood friend, Pei, the blind man with the cane lingering at the street corner. Her blood froze at the sight of that familiar outline, now a deadly omen. She screamed inwardly for him to flee, her nails digging into the genuine leather seats as Christian's fangs tore into her bloodied lip. He mused that the chains had been too loose, allowing her to still pine for that stray dog. As the engine roared toward the unsuspecting blind man, Anna smashed a bottle against Christian's face, blood exploding on his brow, and she heard the devil laugh, declaring they were both dirty now. She had failed to outwit this obsessive alpha male once again, thrown back into the underground chamber of his opulent New York penthouse, where the heavy iron door now required his fingerprint to unlock. Her ankle was shackled with a golden chain, and the possessive husband loomed over her, his tone cruel, yet laced with twisted affection. He commanded her to be his good girl, to think only of him in this space, banishing any thoughts of other wild dogs. He warned against self-harm, threatening to lock all 4 of her limbs if she tried, leaving her utterly immobile. Desperate, she tugged pitifully at his shirt hem, her big eyes pleading for mercy, but he patted her face with mock pity, demanding a reason not to treat her this way. He suggested that if she stopped caring about that man, he might consider letting her visit her sister more often. But for now, she had to behave to even earn the privilege of leaving the bed. The implication sank in misbehavior meant eternal confinement to the bed by this mafia boss and their forced marriage. Overwhelmed with grievance, Anna hurled everything within reach, smashing objects in fury, only spared from hitting him because he rushed to the hospital for his wound. The items clattered onto the thick carpet without much noise, fueling her rage further. She kicked off the heavy blanket in defiance, her face flushed red. That afternoon she sulked, refusing to cover up despite the chill. The maid begged her to comply, warning that the billionaire CEO would be displeased. But Anna dismissed the pleas, calling him a pervert. The maid, fearing Anna might worsen her fever, reported to Christian, who exploded over the phone, cursing his staff as useless. Fresh from bandaging, he ignored the doctor's advice to stay hospitalized and raced back in his private jet from a quick business detour, his secretary's pleas falling on deaf ears. Upon returning, he found his little wife sobbing, shoulders shaking, her refusal to cover up piercing his heart with pain and anger. The underground room was damp, and without the blanket, her fever would spike. Enraged, the obsessive alpha male grabbed her and spanked her bottom firmly to teach her a lesson, not holding back, making her cry harder in pain. He pinched her face, forcing her to meet his eyes, demanding if she'd kick the blanket again. Defiant, she yelled back through tears, like a fierce little kitten, vowing to kick it every day and daring him to kill her. His temper ignited. He'd been too indulgent, protecting her obsessively from any harm, yet she tormented herself. This time he'd enforce discipline. Pulling her up from the bed, he fetched thick rice paper and a custom fountain pen from the desk, ordering her to copy 2 phrases 1,000 times each. Anna is a good girl who obeys every day, and Anna loves Christian. He's her husband to marry legally. The words were brainwashing, and her bottom bruised purple from the punishment, making sitting agony. He loomed with a stern face, insisting no sleep until finished. She stalled like a naughty schoolgirl, fiddling with the pen and paper, glancing slyly at his expression. Only when he darkened would she scribble hastily. A hint of his smile made her dawdle again. They dragged on into the late night, barely a page done, her yawns incessant. He tapped her head repeatedly to keep her awake, unyielding as a cold teacher. Exhausted, her rebellious spirit worn down by sleepiness, she tugged his sleeve softly, begging to copy tomorrow. Her voice turned coquettish, melting his anger instantly. He'd craved her softness amid her constant resistance. Even a whisper of it thrilled him. He agreed, but only if she held him while sleeping. She wrapped around him drowsily, and the possessive husband smiled contentedly, drifting off pleased. She's mine. Every breath she takes belongs to me. No one else will ever touch what's destined to be ruined only by my hands that he assumed the night would tame her for at least 2 days. But upon waking, Anna felt her sore bottom and revived her defiance. While he slept, she scrawled rebellious notes across the paper. Anna isn't obedient. Anna won't obey, and Anna doesn't love Christian. She won't marry that villain. Meeting his gaze, she jutted her chin arrogantly, like a pampered Persian cat. Storm brewing in his eyes, he advanced to discipline her again, but she slithered away like a mudfish, burrowing into the blankets, wrapping herself tightly, pressing down every edge to evade capture. Amused by her fierce yet cowardly antics, he chuckled indulgently, relenting for now. But before leaving, he doubled the punishment 2,000 copies, warning that unfinished work meant tears in bed tonight, hinting at their intense, dominant submissive encounters where he'd claim her relentlessly. Terrified by memories of his stamina, nights of passion up to 8 times, she began copying bitterly. But breakfast unsettled her stomach. She vomited repeatedly, tormenting her all day. The maid offered to call the doctor, but Anna refused, insisting it was just a stomach issue. She pushed on with the task. When Christian returned to find her pale, clutching her chest over a bucket of bile, panic seized him. She thrust the papers at him fearfully, pleading he'd spare her tonight since she'd tried hard. But he swatted them away, frantically checking her body, demanding what was wrong. As he questioned, another wave hit. She vomited on him. Despite his severe cleanliness obsession, he ignored the mess, scooping her up to rush to the hospital. In their 2 years of this dark romance, she'd had regular checkups by private doctors in his luxury Italian villa or aboard his yacht. But this episode was fierce. He feared delay, so he carried her to the elite hospital in his Maybach, bypassing lines as the dean personally attended the billionaire CEO's little wife. By arrival, the nausea subsided, but surveying the bustling hospital, Anna saw a rare escape chance. Feigning belly pain, she begged to use the restroom, and he carried her there. Emerging, she'd swapped clothes with someone, donning a hat with the brim low. She passed him nervously, heart chanting invisibility. He didn't recognize her at first, but as she relaxed 10 steps away, his low command halted her, recognizing the lambskin shoes he'd chosen. Her body trembled, exposed. She bolted, confirming her identity. Furious at her attempt in this enemies-to-lovers twist, he thought of breaking her legs to keep her, but her speed faltered against his. About to grab her wrist, she screamed for help, accusing him of trafficking. The crowded hospital erupted. Good Samaritans blocked him. Alarms blared, security swarmed. By the time the dean clarified the misunderstanding and apologized, Anna had fled. Ecstatic at her escape, she didn't know Christian erupted in rage, ordering the streets sealed, trains, buses, airports locked down. No one leaving the city without checks. He commanded his secretary to scour every inch within 12 hours, even flipping the city if needed. Pausing his fury, he insisted a private doctor join, worried about her discomfort in the cold, thinly dressed. Failure meant feeding them to his savage wolf, Xiaolong, the bloodthirsty beast that had dragged her back during her first escape, shadowing her nightmares. Like a startled bird, Anna hid in alley shadows, clutching a phone useless in his villa due to signal jammers but now active. She dared not use it, fearing tracking. Embracing the most dangerous place as safest, she navigated back lanes cautiously until nightfall, reaching her family home. Ringing the bell, the maid Zhang gasped in disbelief and joy, announcing to her sister Yunxi, the tall, stunning woman with a beauty mark by her eye, an ultimate ice queen. Seeing her sister after 2 years, Anna sobbed into her embrace like a lost kitten finding family, tears flowing. Yunchi stroked her hair tenderly, eyes misty after frantic searches using every channel, even selling herself in a marriage of convenience to Huijui, hoping his influence would locate Anna. Assuming He rescued her, Yunchi relaxed when Anna clarified she'd escaped alone, omitting the abuses to spare worry. Yunchi pressed for the kidnapper's identity, vowing no harm went unpunished, but Anna begged to drop it, insisting she was fine. Relenting, Yunchi ordered the maid to prepare dinner with Anna's favorites. Entering, Anna noticed Yunchi in pajamas midday, uncharacteristic for her polished style, no makeup or heels, looking ill and pale. Grabbing her wrist to check, Yunchi dodged, but a fresh whip mark flashed on her arm. Furious, Anna demanded who did it. Yunchi evaded, fleeing to her room. Questioning the maid, Anna learned of Yunchi's hellish year, trading marriage to the violent, disabled Huijui for help finding her. He pampered her to the skies one moment, then whipped her savagely the next, his moods unpredictable. Yunchi's body was scarred, and their family company, Yun Group, legacy from their late parents, teetered on bankruptcy under his threats. Sworn to prosper Yun Group before their parents' fatal crash, Yunchi endured. Enraged at this mafia boss-like tyrant's cruelty, Anna vowed revenge before recapture. Researching Hua online, she saw his wheelchair-bound form, nearly 6'3", sword-like brows, half-curled hair, noble elegance masking bloodthirsty violence. Heir to one of the city's 4 major families, he rivaled Christian Grey, the city prince, in power. Understanding Yunchi's terror, Anna plotted overnight, deciding to ambush at his company with a baseball bat. Strike fast, flee, face jail if caught, but avenge her sister. The next day, disguised in sportswear, mask, and hat, she lurked at Ho Group. Up in the top-floor office by vast windows, the secretary reported to Hua on his wheelchair. Christian Grey arrived for their major project signing. Hu wheeled out to greet the only equal in the city. Spotting him, Anna gripped the bat, charging unexpectedly, smashing his leg hard. Stunned silence followed his pained grunt, then chaos as bodyguards pursued. Fleeing blindly, she collided into an oncoming man, Christian Grey himself, 6'2" frame, unyielding. Apologizing, her eyes widened in horror. She turned to run, but he grabbed her collar playfully, her limbs flailing futilely like a captured animal. His eyes bloodshot from sleepless search, he unmasked her with a wicked smile, greeting her good morning, teasing if she'd missed him so much to crash into his arms after one day. Struggling, kicking, she denied it, but as guards approached. Christian leaned close, biting her ear, hot breath tempting she'd cause big trouble with this hard-to-provoke man. Kiss him, and he'd help. She refused initially, but his graphic whisper of potential tortures, whips, knives leaving bloody holes, terrified her pale. Clinging to him, she begged no holes. He coaxed a reward for his aid. Desperately, she tiptoed and kissed him lightly. But the obsessive alpha male, starved after a day apart, deepened it dominantly, nearly ravaging her lips until she bit him in shame, drawing blood. Facing Hua, whose face darkened at the public display, Christian hugged Anna possessively, explaining she was his woman, unhappy with Hua, hence the strike. He suggested Hua reflect and apologize for provoking her, as why else target him amid crowds. Hua fumed, calling Christian an unreasonable lunatic. Christian retorted coldly, demanding apology for the crippled Hua upsetting his baby. Emboldened, Anna straightened, glaring he deserved it for bullying her sister. Realizing she was his wife's sought sister, Hua backed off for her sake, but the project soured, the two titans clashing, one demanding handover, the other apology. Hua retreated huffily. Anna stomped Christian's foot in pain, slipping away like an eel into the crowd, vanishing again. Furious at her bridge burning, he cursed her slipperiness. Not daring home, knowing his reach would trace her Yun visit, she hid in shadows till night, limping to her small 2-bedroom apartment her sister bought years ago, secluded, quiet. Feet blistered, she avoided phone use but connected to Wi-Fi after removing the SIM, relaxing finally. Her phone vibrated, a voice call from Pei, her childhood friend, excited from Yunchi's news. Hesitant but wanting to reassure after 2 years, she answered. He bombarded questions, she assured wellness, evading details. Asking his well-being, he interrupted, guessing abduction and probing intimacy. Her silence confirmed. Unclean now, she apologized, urging him not to wait, unable to marry purely. He insisted it wasn't her fault, he didn't mind, begging her location. Fearing involvement, recalling Christian's near hit, she hung, asking him to tell Yunshi she'd be away briefly. Meanwhile, Christian's hackers traced the call despite no SIM. Grabbing the tech by the collar, storm clouds on his face, he demanded repetition she'd contacted Pei. Enraged at the stray again, he mobilized 10 black cars to the quiet neighborhood. Bringing only 2 bodyguards, confident in the net, he learned from property management room 303, owned 5 years, occasional visits by the pretty, smiling girl. The words pretty and smiling stabbed. Everyone knew his baby smiled, but never at him in 2 years. Gripping the key till blood oozed, he imagined bursting in, her trembling fear worsening. Aborting, he ordered his secretary to buy the adjacent unit double price, empty or not, now. Efficiently, neighbors vacated overnight for the windfall. Christian, accustomed to luxury, had it refurnished entirely, placing the bed against the shared wall for closeness. Despite heat, the bed felt cold without her. Sleepless without her scent, his head throbbed. Desperate, he drew his butterfly knife, slashing wrists deeply, blood flowing in relief, self-harm his childhood escape. Weakening, he swallowed several sleeping pills to force rest. Next morning, renovation noise woke Anna. Infuriated at the early disturbance, she pounded the door. Staff nearly called her madam but stopped, claiming the boss was at work. Demanding his contact, her phone cardless, they handed a prepped WeChat ID. His username, execute the neighboring little prey on sight, felt odd but angry, she messaged without thought. In his crocodile-skin chair at Gray Enterprises' top floor, pale from blood loss, Christian's phone buzzed. Smiling at her barrage, complaining of disrupted sleep, demanding post, 9 a.m. work, he replied simply okay. Pleased at her fiery kitten vibe, his mood lifted. Back home, Anna tossed sleeplessly, terrified by news of Christian's citywide manhunt. Curled on the sofa, blanket-wrapped, with eyes fixed on the door, any noise startled her. By afternoon, pounding like smashing shook her. Trembling, pale, nausea rising, she suppressed vomit, fearing him. The voice outside Psalm, Pei's mom, a delivery aunt. Opening, a slap stung her face. Psalm screeched accusations shameless for making Pei blind in a fire saving her. Then eloping with a lover for 2 years, returning to harm more. Covering her swelling cheek, Anna tried explaining no elopement, but another slap hit for backtalk, calling her ill-bred. Pei fancied her, but Psalm demanded marriage to atone, using the fire moral bind. Eyes lost rescuing her. Insisting next month's wedding, with Yun Group as dowry, worth billions to plug their debts, Anna refused, vomiting acid from stress. Song, experienced, accused pregnancy with a bastard, needing Pei as patsy. The word blanked Anna's mind. Christian always made her take pills, citing her youth-harming pregnancy. Denying tearfully, Song dragged her to hospital for check. The ultrasound confirmed pregnant. Thunderstruck at 20, still a child herself, Anna panicked. Song raged, demanding abortion, no bastard for her son. Forced onto the table, Anna struggled inwardly as nurses prepped anesthesia, pitying her youth and beauty, assuming irresponsible boyfriend. Their words stirred Christian unaware, not refusing were poor. But the baby from force, silent, she pondered. Nurse warned young age risked future infertility. Thoughts tore, keep or not. Head splitting, she bolted off, shoving Psalm, fleeing home. Locking in, burrowed under covers, shivering helplessly what to do? Sobbing in vulnerability, her pampered psyche crumbled. Simultaneously, in his office, Christian felt uneasy premonition, pressing temples, summoning his secretary for updates on watching her. You're mine, baby girl. I'll ruin anyone who tries to take you from me, and you'll carry my heir in this age gap that only makes my possession fiercer.